everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you everything that you need to make farmhouse style framed wood signs, everything that you need to either make them for yourself, for your family, for your friends, or even if you want to start a business. You can do it too. All you need is the right equipment and the right materials, the right tools, and you can do it. So I have been on Etsy. I've been selling wood signs, vinyl decals, and personalized gifts for several years now. So I've done a lot of trial and error and all of that. So I get a lot of questions on the stuff that I use to make my wood signs. So I figured I would make a video and just share them with y'all. So if you want to learn how to make these wood signs, then just keep on watching and I'll show you. Okay, so it all started off on Etsy. I was selling only vinyl decals and just a few personalized things with decals, and I wanted to expand my business to more. So I knew wood signs was a great way to personalize things. I knew it was a super saturated market on Etsy, but I wanted to go ahead and give it a try. And I'll tell you, I did, and my signs were not the most beautiful in the beginning. I'll tell you, the first one I did, I was just like, I don't even think anybody's gonna buy this because I thought it looked so bad. But I'll tell you, you could just, with the right practice and the right effort put into it, you will get better and better and better, and you will learn the trial and error and just things that work and that make wood signs look really good. So if I can save you the time by telling you what to get now so you don't do what I did in the beginning, then I want to help somebody out. That's the thing about wood sign sellers and wood sign makers, is everybody uses different things. So what works for me might not work for you, and what works for her might not work for her. So it just really just depends on what works for you. But I'll at least share with you what I use. So let's hop on into everything that you will need for this. So obviously, if you're going to make wood signs with a stencil, so you want a way to create these beautiful fonts, but you don't want to do hand lettering and all of that, you will need a computer or a laptop with a vinyl cutter and a vinyl cutter software. So I just have a laptop that's nothing fancy, and I use the Silhouette Studio, which to come along with that is the Silhouette Cameo. That is what I use and what I love. And I know that you can do this with a Cricut, and you can do this with a vinyl plotter or whatever vinyl cutter you use. So you'll obviously, if you don't have a vinyl cutter already, you'll need to invest in one. You can get one for a couple $100 on Amazon, and I can link it down below the Silhouette that I use. So laptop and a vinyl cutter with a software. Those are the first two things you'll need. So your machine will come with a vinyl pick, but I also recommend if you go to your local tool store, like I have a Harbor Freight in my town, I get a set of dental picks. So those are great to use when you're making wood signs, and you will use them way more than you think. Not only for weeding your sign, but you will also use them for touch-ups. So touching up your paint or touching up anything that might have messed up on your sign, those vinyl picks are like a lifesaver, and you'll need those tiny little things so you can get into the tiny creases and crevices of your signs. Trust me, you'll need a good one of those. So invest in a better one of those if you haven't already. All right, and then going on into what you use for your stencil. I use Oramask 813. I started off making my signs with vinyl, just regular Oracle 651. And you can do that, and some sign makers have a great success with that, but it did not work for me. I'm just gonna be completely honest. I had a lot of problems with the vinyl peeling up the stain, or the paint bleeding, or just a big mess. So if you want to do it right, invest in stencil vinyl. So Oramask 813, I will link it down below. I get it at US Cutter, but you can get it on Amazon or anything like that if you want to just look into it. But just make sure you invest in the better stencil vinyl. And then to go along with that, you will need a transfer tape. So if you don't know what transfer tape is, it is a way to transfer your stencil over to your wood sign. So when you're done with your stencil and you've weeded it and it's ready and it's sitting on its backing, you get your transfer tape, put it on the top of your stencil, and then it carries it. It acts like a carrier over to your wood sign, and then you just apply that and then peel it off, and then your stencil is left on your wood sign. I know it sounds so crazy, but I actually do have a video explaining more details of how to create wood signs from start to finish. I will link that just to give you a better visual if you want to know. But definitely invest in a good transfer tape. I use Rtape Clear Choice AT65, the best hands down transfer tape ever. It is clear. Invest in a good transfer tape. Okay, now rolling into the whole woodworking side of things. So obviously you will need wood. So I get a lot of questions on what wood I use. I go to Lowe's or Home Depot, and if it depends really on what kind of wood signs you want to make. So I make plain wood signs, so regular pine, and then I have also framed wood signs, and I use 2 different types of wood for those. So if you're going to make plain wood signs in the beginning, I would recommend just getting the regular interior grade pine that is, I get a 1x6 by however long you want it. I usually get an 8-foot board. That is a good size to kind of start off with, but you can go up as big as 12 inches and so you can get really big pine boards to make your wood signs with. So just depending on what you like and what size you want, definitely get that type of wood though. You want to get the good quality wood. You don't want exterior wood. You want to get the interior wood. So that's what I use for my regular wood signs. And then for my framed wood signs, so for the actual wood part in the back, I get birch plywood. So I can't find that at my Lowe's, so I get it at Home Depot, but I get a big 4-foot by 8-foot sheet, and it's about, I think, $55 or something like that for the sheet, but you can make so many wood signs out of that. So you definitely get your investment back in it. But that is what I get for my backing of my wood for the framed wood signs. And then for my frame, so the wood that goes around that, I use 1x2s. So don't go over in the treated wood. You want to make sure it's untreated wood. And I have messed around a lot with the furring strips. So they're kind of like 1x2s, but they're just like a little bit cheaper quality. I've used those, and the problem with those is you'll find a lot of bows in your wood and imperfections in your wood. So you might run into a lot of problems with that. It is a lot cheaper, but I don't think it's worth it. If I was you, I would get 1x2s. But what I do now at this point is I make my own 1x2s. I get 2x4s and I just rip those and make them 1x2s. And I found that they're a lot straighter and better quality. Okay, now going into the tools, my favorite part. So you will need a miter saw as the first tool you will need. You can get these as cheap as you want, or you can spend as much money as you want on these. I started off with whatever my husband had, and we just kind of had an older one. I think it was like a Craftsman, and it lasted me all that time, and it did great. It still works now just fine. But I decided to upgrade recently to a DeWalt, and I love it, and it's so nice, and it does cut like butter. But you know, honestly, they're all gonna do the same thing. They're all gonna cut. So if you want to start off, you can get miter saws as low as like $100 or less, even if you want to buy secondhand or whatever. But you'll just make sure you do need a miter saw. That is what I use to cut my regular wood signs and what I use to cut my frame. So I use it all the time. So you'll need a miter saw, and then the next tool you will need is a circular saw. So a circular saw is kind of a handheld saw that you hold, and you just can cut straight lines. So I use this for my birch plywood, so the wood that you're going to use to create your wood sign, the framed wood sign. So I will lay my 4x8 sheet of plywood down, and I will cut the size wood I need. And then you will need a sander. So I have a DeWalt orbital sander. I'll try and put a picture here if I can find it, but it is, I love it. I absolutely love it. You can go as cheap as you want with these sanders as well, but I did have a cheaper one in the beginning, and I have noticed a significant difference in how smooth and better my signs are now that I've invested a little bit more. I think I spent like $57 on this sander, but it has lasted me several years now, and it's been a really good sander. You just buy the sandpaper as it goes bad, and it does just fine. But yeah, invest in a good sander. And then you'll also need a nail gun. So this is to frame your frame on your wood signs. So I have a just cheap, it's called Central Pneumatic, and it's an 18 gauge nail gun, and I got it from Harbor Freight. I think it was only like $29, but you can use a 20% off coupon, so you can get it really cheap. And then to go along with that, you will need an air compressor. So I just bought a small air compressor to plug mine into. I think in total, between the air compressor and the nail gun with coupons and all, it's less than $50 for both. I don't remember exactly how much because it's been a while, but you'll definitely need the pair to create it, but it's so worth it. And then to go along with that, you'll need nails. So I use, like I said, 18 gauge nail gun. So I'll buy 18 gauge nails, and I will buy the 1.5 inch nails. So that fits perfectly for those wood signs like that. So definitely invest in that if you're wanting to make framed wood signs. Okay, and then for your finishing, you will need to invest in some wood stain. I use Minwax, and I also use Varathane for a few of my colors. But I recommend, if you're going to start a business, get several different stain options. So you can get the little tiny cans and just get a bunch of colors, so that way your customers have a bunch of options to choose from. And that, because I did start off in the beginning just doing one color, which was dark walnut, and they still sold really well. But once I expanded to a lot of stain colors, people really liked that, and I got more sales that way. So invest in a bunch of stain, and even if you're just doing this for yourself and family members, it's good to have a variety, I feel like. At least the ones that you know you'll use and that you'll like. So, and along with stain, you will need some stain pads or some kind of way to stain your wood. So I use these little white stain pads that I get from Harbor Freight. Love them. I can use them several times. And you have to throw them away after, they get to the point where you've used up all 4 of your corners. But that is what I use to apply my stain to my wood. And then you'll also need paint for your wood signs. So I have gone through a lot of different types of paint throughout the years, trying to figure out what works best. And I have found, believe it or not, that regular white paint, like in a gallon from Lowe's, is honestly the best. I've had the best results with that than anything. So I tried acrylic paint in the beginning, then I went to chalk paint, and then some other types of paints that I found in different craft stores. And the best one is the regular old paint, and I'll put a picture here of what kind I use exactly. But I use this for the backs of my wood signs that are framed, and I also use these for the wording of my wood signs. To go along with your paint, you'll need something to apply the paint with. So when I'm making my wood signs, I will use a little roller. So I use a foam roller, and that is how I apply my paint over my stencil. And if you don't want to do that, use a foam brush, but always use foam. Don't use the bristle brushes ever in any part of your wood sign. Just use the foam. You'll have the best results that way. That is one thing I did not do in the beginning, and I'm glad now that I do, because it definitely gives you better results. Okay, and then probably my favorite thing for the wood signs that I have is Minwax polyacrylic. So this is what I get a lot of questions on: what I finish my wood with, what do I apply over my stencils to prevent bleeding? And the answer is polyacrylic. I love this stuff. You just apply it over your wood to finish. You apply it before you do your wood sign and all of that, and I love it. So definitely invest in some polyacrylic and your signs will look magnificent. Okay, and now we're going to go into the shipping side of things. So if you're wanting to start a business with this, you will need all of the materials and the things to ship your wood signs. So in total, you will need boxes. So I get a lot of my boxes free from USPS. So I use the free, just regular priority boxes, not flat rate, and I get the large box. I use that a lot for my smaller wood signs. And then if you're going to ship larger wood signs, you'll need brown contractor paper. I get it from Lowe's in the paint section. It comes in a big brown roll. And I have another video on how I ship my wood signs, and I can link that in the cards if you're interested in watching it, just to kind of get a visual. Along with that, you will need bubble wrap. I get that at Sam's. You will need shipping tape. So I just use regular packing tape, and I use a packing tape gun. Is that what it's called? Yeah, a tape gun. I use a tape gun. And then you will want to invest in some fragile stickers, or even just a red Sharpie and write the word fragile. But I found that this just, for one, makes you look like you care about your wood sign and makes you look more professional for your customers. And the stickers I get are on Amazon. I can link them below if you want to find the exact rolls I use, but it's really cheap. It's like $5.99 for 500 stickers, and I just put them on my wood signs when I ship them out, just to kind of ensure, at least it makes me feel better, that thinking that they take better care of your signs, which I don't know if they do, but I've had good luck so far, knock on wood. But that's all you'll need shipping wise. And then if you're wanting to really take it up a notch, and I've said this in so many of my videos, but get a label maker. So if you want to save yourself so much time, energy, money, hassle, tape, all that stuff, get a label maker. So I use the Dymo 4XL and I print all my labels on that, and you can make stickers and you can make all kinds of things, but that is what I use for my labels that I put on my boxes and on my wood signs. The labels are thermal ink, so you never have to buy ink, you just have to buy the rolls, and it does save you a lot of time and energy and money and everything like that. So invest in a label maker. Alright guys, so that wraps it up for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know down in the comments if you have a wood sign shop or you're planning on starting a wood sign shop, or even if you have any tips for me. I always love to learn new things. So let me know. And I guess I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.